The relatives cheered as they saw the delivery of custom-ordered high-end steaks. And yet, in front of me, there was only a single drink. From the doorway, Ashley peeked in with a smug grin on her face. Even on such a celebratory day, she's still bullying me as her daughter-in-law.
I splurged because it's been so long since the family got together. Let's enjoy this delicious food together as a family.
Holding a grudge over food is horrible. Ashley, you're about to learn a lesson. My name is Michelle, a 35-year-old office worker, and I live with my husband, Thomas, who is 5 years older than me. Thomas, the youngest of three brothers, has a kind and easygoing personality. We've been married for 5 years, but we don't have children yet. We've been letting nature take its course. But recently, Thomas's mother, Ashley, has been asking us about grandchildren every time we see her. So we've started trying to conceive. That said, I'm only doing things I can manage on my own, like paying attention to sleep and nutrition and timing things right. However, there's one thing holding me back. Since I've already lost my parents, I think I'd need to rely on Ashley's help if we had a child. She's about to turn 66, still lively, divorced in her later years, and works part-time as a retail associate. Ashley probably doesn't like me. She calls me every 2 weeks or so and invites us over for dinner, but her attitude makes it abundantly clear. It seems she can't stand me for taking Thomas, who she used to dote on. If we do have a child, I have a feeling things will only get more complicated. One time, when I visited Ashley's house with Thomas, the moment he stepped away to use the restroom, Ashley gave me a stern look and said,
Hey, Michelle, hasn't Thomas gained weight?
"Has he?"
He has. Managing your husband's health is your responsibility, isn't it? If he gets fat, he'll get sick. I bet you're feeding him greasy food all the time.
This was the first time I'd heard that was my responsibility. I try to make meals with balanced nutrition, and neither of us likes greasy food, so it rarely makes it to our table. I'm eating the same food as him, and I haven't gained weight, so she's blaming the wrong person to begin with. Besides, I can't control what he eats at work lunches or when he goes out drinking with colleagues. I replied cautiously, "I think it might be more effective if you mentioned it to Thomas yourself."
What did you say? That would hurt his pride. It's your job to look after him.
Do I really have to go that far for a grown man? When Thomas returned, I asked him directly, "Have you gained weight recently?"
Why? Actually, I've lost a little.
The room fell into an icy silence. Ashley started trembling with anger.
Lost weight? Michelle, it sounds like you're not feeding Thomas properly.
What? She completely contradicted what she'd just said. I couldn't tell if she was upset because I didn't listen or if she just wanted to criticize me no matter what.
Poor Thomas. Now that I look closer, he's so skinny he looks starved. If the neighbors see him looking like this, they'll think his mean wife is overworking him. Michelle, you're a failure as a wife.
I was speechless. Whether Thomas gains weight or loses it, I'm doomed either way.
What's with that look? Aren't you being a little rude to an elderly person?
Ashley's words made me sigh. Only playing the elderly card when it's convenient. She's perfectly energetic otherwise. Ashley's house isn't exactly comfortable, but since she insists, we often stay for dinner. She's a great cook, whipping up dishes with seasonal vegetables that look like they belong in a high-end restaurant.
All right, let's eat.
Well, I don't have anything here. In front of me, there's only a drink.
Oh my, didn't you say you didn't need anything because you already ate?
I didn't say that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It must have been a misunderstanding. You know, I'm just an old lady.
At first, I believed Ashley when she said it was a misunderstanding. But this happens every single time. When she uses the old lady excuse, I can't argue back. She's clever like that. All right, then I'll pass. In the end, I endure the hunger again. And on the way home, I have to stop at a restaurant because I just can't take it anymore.
Sorry about my forgetful mom.
Thomas says, oblivious to Ashley's passive-aggressive behavior. He's a kind but clueless man, and at least he doesn't take Ashley's side. I'll try not to let it bother me, but I started getting fed up with the unexpected dining expenses every time we visited Ashley's house. Meanwhile, Thomas, who eats 2 meals out of politeness, actually started gaining weight. Being overly polite wasn't doing me any favors, and I decided it was time to stop being the passive wife. One day, after confirming that only a drink had been prepared for me, I immediately told Ashley I'd help out, and then went ahead and grabbed some bread for myself before sitting down at the table. Then, I took some of Thomas's side dishes to share.
Michelle, I've told you not to go into the kitchen and taking Thomas's side dishes. How could you?
Ashley glared at me. I figured pointing out why things had escalated wasn't a good idea, so I decided to take a different approach. Ashley, your cooking is absolutely amazing.
Oh, is that so?
Thomas looked a bit uneasy, but didn't seem to overthink it.
Mom, seriously, even if you're forgetful, give me a break. It's not like it's the old days where mothers-in-law bullied their daughters-in-law.
That's not it. It's just an old habit of miscounting how many people to cook for.
Ashley stammered, offering a weak excuse. By this point, I was certain she was intentionally mistreating me. But there was no way Ashley would ever admit it. It seemed Ashley wasn't ready to back down, as the next dinner she prepared was pasta. With this, even if I helped myself to some bread, there would be no side dishes. Of course, I couldn't just cook something for myself in my in-laws' kitchen. Ashley had clearly thought this through. She seemed determined to make me feel miserable. I stared at the drink set in front of me as usual, wondering what to do. Ashley smirked, clearly pleased with herself. At that moment, Thomas spoke up.
Mom, you remembered, didn't you? Michelle has an egg allergy, so she can't eat this pasta. You must have prepared something else for her, right?
Ashley, unable to argue with Thomas's innocent gaze, nodded reluctantly.
Of course, I thought Michelle could just order delivery. Get whatever you'd like.
Really? Thank you. In that case, I'll have a burger. Ashley's face twitched, but I pretended not to notice. I felt she should be praising me for humbly choosing something simple instead of an expensive meal. The burger arrived a bit later, and I ate it by myself. Though I regretted my choice as I thought about the way I was eating it. Knowing Ashley, if I ate the burger with a big bite, she'd call me vulgar. But if I ate it carefully with small bites, she'd accuse me of being pretentious. Anticipating this, I settled for eating quickly with a slightly open mouth. By the way, I decided not to mention that I could eat eggs as long as they weren't raw. This petty battle between Ashley and me continued. Once, I even brought homemade food to her house. I told her I had made extra and brought some to share. That way, even if no meal was prepared for me, I'd have something to eat. But Ashley wasn't easy to outwit.
Why would you bring something so unsightly here?
Unsightly.
The presentation is terrible. You should think more about how it looks when you cook.
But it tastes good. The recipe is my own, though.
You're so careless, have no sense, and are just plain sloppy.
Somehow, this turned into a direct insult to my face. But it didn't end there. To my surprise, Ashley held the food container I brought and tossed the contents into the trash.
I threw it out because it had gone bad.
That's impossible.
Stop complaining.
Thomas returned to the room after stepping away.
What's going on? Why are you raising your voice?
Ashley's furious expression instantly changed into a smile.
Oh, I threw out Michelle's homemade food because it had gone bad.
Really? That's too bad. It was delicious.
Delicious? That brown dish?
I felt an overwhelming anger. I can't stand people who waste food. That day, as usual, only a drink was prepared for me, so I pointedly drank glass after glass.
You must be really thirsty.
Ashley smirked at me, making me even angrier. Just you wait. A week later, we gathered to celebrate my niece's birthday with the whole extended family. Thomas's brothers, Kevin and Sean, their wives, Olivia and Rachel, and their kids were there, along with relatives I hadn't seen since our wedding. Thomas's uncles, aunts, cousins, and their kids. In Ashley's living room, everyone gathered around a large table with a big crowd seated together. It felt just like a grand banquet. Even at such a celebratory gathering, Ashley stuck to her usual tactics. On the table were luxurious meals. They were reportedly custom ordered from a renowned steakhouse. But as always, my seat had nothing but a drink. Ashley peeked through the doorway with a sly smile. Even at a happy occasion like this, she can't forget to torment me. What a person. Everyone exclaimed in excitement over the fancy meals. Pleased by the reactions, Ashley announced proudly,
I splurged because it's been so long since the family got together. Let's enjoy this delicious food together as a family.
I was torn. If I pointed out that I didn't have a meal, the relatives who didn't know the situation would likely share their steak with me.
Ashley, you're so forgetful. I'm so sorry, but really, Michelle, you're so greedy.
It would lead to a harmonious dinner filled with such comments. But that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to teach this selfish Ashley a lesson. I wanted her to admit to her petty harassment and apologize. Ashley looked at me with a smug grin. Enjoy it while it lasts. I finished my drink and stood up abruptly. Thank you for the meal. Since it seems I'm not considered part of the family, I'll be leaving now. Please, everyone, enjoy yourselves. The relatives began murmuring in confusion.
Oh my, what's wrong?
Ashley tilted her head. She seemed determined to feign ignorance.
Did Michelle not get her steak?
No, I didn't.
Oh dear, what should we do?
What are you talking about? You knew, didn't you? Without missing a beat, Ashley brought out a plate.
Here it is. I just forgot to set it out. There's no need to be so sarcastic.
Ashley smirked triumphantly while I stared at her in disbelief. She's trying to make me look like the bad guy. Not a chance. Ashley, I'm so sorry. I just assumed it was the usual situation.
The usual situation? Never mind that. Go ahead and eat.
Ashley pushed the plate toward me. This is suspicious way too suspicious. I found it packed with egg-based dishes. Ashley knew I had an egg allergy, so this was clearly an elaborate act of malice. The sheer pettiness made me dizzy. Did she really go out of her way to order this separately just to upset me? I felt a chill run down my spine. Ashley, this is awful. When Ashley saw the contents, she feigned exaggerated surprise.
Oh my, I didn't order that. Maybe the steakhouse made a mistake.
How blatantly fake can you be?
What do you mean?
I gave Ashley a cold, piercing look. At that moment, my niece and nephew peeked into the egg-filled plate and started clamoring for it. It seemed they were more interested in my plate than their own meals, which they had barely touched. A deal was struck. I handed over the egg dishes to the kids and received a couple of steaks in return. Ashley's scheme backfired, and now in front of me sat a delicious array of steaks. I wonder if I can finish all this. Well, I'll enjoy it without hesitation. The moment I picked up my knife and fork, Ashley stopped me.
Wait, since you don't seem to know, let me tell you. Normally, daughters-in-law shouldn't eat that much out of courtesy.
What? What's with this blatant restriction on eating? I've never heard of such a thing. I froze, still holding the knife and fork. But finally, Ashley revealed her true colors in front of the entire family. She snatched the egg dishes back from the children.
And giving your food to the kids? That's not right. They shouldn't be picky. Eat your eggs too.
Watching Ashley say this with a smirk sent chills down my spine. Do you even realize how horrifying it is to tell someone to eat food they're allergic to? I lost my appetite, placed the knife and fork down, and both Olivia and Rachel did the same.
Oh, what's wrong? Is everyone already full?
Olivia and Rachel looked upset. Their faces darkened. Ashley probably didn't realize what she had said. Though it wasn't coordinated, Olivia and Rachel both began apologizing.
I'm sorry for eating steak as your daughter-in-law.
Sorry for eating so much as your daughter-in-law.
Seeing the two of them apologizing one after another, Ashley panicked.
No, that's not it. That's not what I meant. I was talking about Michelle.
Olivia and Rachel both gave her puzzled looks.
We're also your daughters-in-law.
So, does that mean you don't recognize us as daughters-in-law?
Ashley began stammering.
No, that's not what I meant.
Since we're here, let's make sure everyone hears this. Ashley, you always only serve me a drink.
What?
Every single time, it's just a drink. That's because, to you, I'm not part of the family, right?
Michelle, stop talking.
It's fine, I understand. But treating me like this when I have an egg allergy is just cruel. The relatives began murmuring again, and Ashley started making excuses.
I completely forgot about the allergy. I thought Michelle liked eggs, but I guess I was mistaken.
Didn't you just say earlier that you didn't order that?
Did I? Maybe I said something like that.
Ashley's lies began to unravel.
Mom, you did this on purpose, didn't you? You've always been like this, haven't you?
Thomas spoke coldly, and Ashley's face turned pale.
Stop it. That can't be true.
Ashley desperately denied it, but it was already too late.
So, Mom, you didn't consider Michelle part of the family?
Does that mean I'm not part of the family either?
Sorry for thinking I was family all this time.
Ashley, unable to bear the cold stares from Olivia and Rachel, looked to her sons for help.
Mom, I'm disappointed in you.
Were you harassing the other daughters-in-law too?
I wasn't. It was just Michelle. Oh my God.
Flustered, Ashley accidentally admitted it herself. No excuses could save her now. One by one, the relatives finished their meals and began leaving. Olivia and Rachel left money for the steak, which felt like a clear statement that they no longer considered themselves part of the family. The leftover egg dishes felt wasteful. I can't stand to waste food. When I took a bite, it was incredibly delicious. Oh yes, this is it. This is the taste of a professional.
Wait.
Ashley shouted.
Michelle, don't eat that.
Ashley tried to take the egg dish from me. But starving as I was, I had already stuffed my mouth full and couldn't respond. I clutched the plate tightly, determined to keep it.
Don't rush into this. It's not something you need to feel responsible for. I was wrong.
Feel responsible for what? Also, this food is amazing.
I'll call an ambulance.
Ashley panicked as I continued eating, ignoring her. I prefer some peace and quiet during my meal.
Mom, it's clear you've been harassing Michelle.
Thomas said, exasperated.
Apologize for everything you've done. If it were anyone but Michelle, they might have been hurt and left by now.
If it were someone else, they'd leave? Thomas's words stuck with me, but I decided to think about it later, out of respect for the delicious food in front of me.
Fine, I'll apologize. Just stop eating. I don't want to end up a criminal.
I finished my drink with a smile and said, "It's fine. As long as it's not raw eggs, I can eat it." Ashley's face turned bright red in an instant.
Enough. Stop mocking me.
Mom, this is your own doing. You're not even sorry, are you? You knew about the allergy, didn't you?
Thomas's harsh words left Ashley with a frustrated expression.
Yes, I knew. I didn't like her, so I thought she deserved to suffer.
What did you just say?
How could I possibly like Michelle, the woman who stole my youngest son, my last son from me?
Such an outrageous statement left both Thomas and me stunned. Ashley clearly hadn't let go of her son.
I wanted him to stay home and eat the meals I made for him.
Thomas's face twisted in disgust.
Give me a break.
That's what a mother would naturally want.
I'm 40 years old, Mom. That's ridiculous. What? Did you want me to stay home at 50? At 60?
Well, no, but...
Realizing her misstep, Ashley looked awkward.
Hello.
Then a cheerful voice called out from the front door. It was Mark, the chef from the steakhouse, coming to pick up the empty delivery plates. When I answered the door, Mark looked surprised.
Oh, hey. I didn't know this was your place, Michelle.
It's my in-laws' house. I recognized your egg dishes right away. Hearing this, Ashley tilted her head in confusion.
What's going on? I ordered the steaks.
Since she didn't seem to get it, I explained. Because you always only serve me drinks, I get so hungry that I stop by this steakhouse on my way home.
What?
I especially love their egg dishes, so I was really happy. Mark, this is Ashley, the person I always talk about. Mark turned to Ashley and cheerfully exclaimed,
So, this is Ashley, the one who always pretends to forget Michelle's food? You know, bullying daughters-in-law isn't trendy anymore. You should stop.
Ashley froze in shock for a moment before trying to change the subject.
Hey, the front door is wide open.
But it was too late. Mark's loud revelation had already spilled out into the neighborhood, ensuring Ashley's actions would become the talk of the town.
Michelle, you.
Ashley trembled, whether from anger or embarrassment. It was Thomas who delivered the final blow.
Mom, we've been coming over because you wanted us to, but it looks like we shouldn't anymore.
Don't say that. At least you can still come over, Thomas.
That's fine with me. I'll enjoy a quiet steak by myself then. Right, Mark? Mark nodded while Thomas looked displeased.
Well, I'd prefer the steak too.
What's that supposed to mean?
Ashley looked incredulous as Thomas explained.
Mom, you said it yourself earlier. Good food should be shared with family. My family is my wife, Michelle.
What?
Ashley was visibly shocked by Thomas's words.
Since when did you start saying things like that, Thomas? It's all because of this glutton, Michelle.
Instead of reflecting on her actions, she shifted the blame. Thomas, exasperated with Ashley, said nothing more and left her house. Naturally, I had nothing to say to her either. You don't mess with someone when it comes to food. After that, Ashley stopped contacting me altogether. She still secretly reached out to Thomas, thinking I didn't know, but I was aware of everything. As usual, she was making self-centered comments.
I'll make all of Thomas's favorite dishes, so come over to eat.
Ashley clearly hadn't learned anything, and Thomas seemed fed up.
What are my favorite dishes?
French fries, fried chicken.
Thomas sighed and replied in a tone of irritation.
Mom, think about my age. I liked those when I was a student, but I can't really eat them now.
That's nonsense. If it's my lovingly made home-cooked food, you can eat it.
Mom, you're so selfish.
What?
I don't plan on seeing you for a while.
Why would you say something like that?
Take some time to think about it.
What?
Finally, even Thomas distanced himself from Ashley. Apparently, Kevin and Sean also decided to keep their distance from her. The recent events revealed that Olivia and Rachel had also been subjected to Ashley's harassment. Olivia and Rachel reached out to me, offering apologies and thanks. Apparently, as fellow victims of Ashley's antics, they found the situation refreshing. Since they both live far away, they didn't visit Ashley's house as often as I did. But when they did, they also endured her behavior.
When that's all you brought as a gift, how thoughtless, and your kids have no manners. You're such an inconsiderate daughter-in-law.
According to their stories, Ashley had often hurled hurtful words and blatant sarcasm at them. If they tried to help in the kitchen, she would dump all the cleanup on them and then criticize the seasoning and presentation of the food. Hearing this made me realize I wasn't the only one she'd been harassing, but it also made me wonder, wait a minute, I've never helped out in the kitchen. Early in our marriage, I used to help, but for the past few years, every time I offered, Ashley would refuse. Did Ashley just want Thomas to eat only her cooking? Or was there some issue with me helping? Thomas eats without complaining, and it's not like Ashley's cooking is bad or anything. While I was lost in thought, Thomas chimed in.
Maybe it's because your cooking is creative.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, nothing. Just, you know, how you eyeball the seasonings and end up eating half of it while taste testing.
What? Did you say something? I didn't catch that.
Nope, nothing. Don't worry about it.
I tilted my head, puzzled. He's right. No point in sweating the small stuff. Whether it's fancy steak or homemade food, the most important thing is enjoying it together. When our baby's born, it'll be even more fun, don't you think?
Wait, really?
I nodded slowly. I just found out yesterday.
Yes. I'll take at least a year off for paternity leave. So leave the parenting to me.
Even without relying on Ashley, it looked like Thomas was ready to step up, so I wasn't worried.
I bet we'll have a kid who loves food as much as you do, Michelle.
I think so too. I'd better brush up on my cooking skills.